Beep, beep. My hat! Alright, so today for this video we have the ProTrac suspension kit by Proline. This is part number 60620. This is made for the Traxxas Slash. Now the arms are much longer and the offset is different on the wheels, so we're going to go ahead and open it up and see what it comes with. Alright. So the first thing that we have here is we have 4 wheels, and one of the things to notice is the difference in the offset. See how deep that is versus a slash wheel. This would be a front. See, there's a huge amount of offset here. That's the front, and if you compare it to the rear, so slash 2-wheel drive, let's see, that's front. This is a rear. There is a massive difference between them. And that's because the arms are much longer. They're about 1 centimeter longer. So you're going to get a much wider truck. And if you look at these wheels, the other thing too is they come pre-vented, so they already have the hole, so that's pretty nice. These here, these are actually going to be very similar to what you would run on an associated vehicle, or even a Techno. These look just like my Techno. The offset. The part number on the wheels is Proline 2773, and they're all the same wheels. So the nice thing about this is you're going to be able to run the same wheels all around. So you don't have to have fronts and rears. If you look at the slash 2-wheel drive, right, you have a front offset, so front, and you have a rear offset. If you have a slash 4-wheel drive, you're running the rears all around. But on the 2-wheel drive, that's the difference. Now, in the other bag, you have a variety of parts. And here you have, let's see, this should come off. You have, this is a front, and this is a rear, it looks like. Shock tower. You also get, let's see, rear arms, pair of front arms, and you are going to get new rear hub carriers, and these look pretty large. So we will be comparing them in another video with the stock Slash. Something else that you also get these massive turnbuckles. So, I mean, they look pretty beefy. We will be comparing these to the factory Slash parts once we start replacing, and you do get hardware. These are 4 screws. I'm going to assume these are for the shocks, but let's see, turnbuckles. You get all 6, so you're going to have to replace all 6 turnbuckles. You get 4 and then 2. And you also get a tool, but to be honest, I have my MIP tool. I'm not going to be using this. But this is all that comes in the kit. Now that we have all the parts out, we can start comparing the ones in the Proline ProTrac suspension kit to the stock Slash. Now, the first thing I want to compare is actually the rear hub carriers. And the rear hub carriers, there is a significant difference in the amount of material, in the thickness here. Now these hub carriers, this is the very first thing. Even when you get your Slash out of the box, you want to replace these. These are going to break. But if you look at these, there's quite a large difference. If I were to put these on my ruler, yes, I could use a tape, I could use calipers, just like this aluminum ruler. This one here is about 6 millimeters wide, versus this one is about, I can't really see, about 4. About 4. Just double check. 4. No, it's about 4. Doesn't seem like much, but 2 millimeters, that's quite a difference. Now also, notice the design on the side. So this is the Proline, this is the stock. Now, the height on both of them is the same, but with the Proline, you get more adjustability here for your end links. So that is one of the biggest difference. So if I just grab a driver, and I hinge them both together, let's see, it looks like the stock slash may line up. Let's see, that's too big. Let's use the 1.5. Lines up with that one there. So that would be for your stock setting. You would want to go center, lower center. All right. So this is definitely a major upgrade. Now this kit here, I forget how much I paid for it. I want to say it was $65, $67, say $70 for it. If you think of upgrading these, usually Proline, when you get a few items like this, each pair of things is going to be around $8, not counting the wheels. So this is definitely a good upgrade. Rear hub carriers versus the stock. These are rubbish. They're going to break immediately. You want to replace these with RPM, or if you have the Proline kit, Proline kit. The reason why you probably want to get the Proline kit is for that adjustability if you've had a slash or you're planning on making a race truck out of your slash. That's the reason why. All right, so we've compared these. I'll take these out. The next thing that we're going to be comparing is the front shock tower. There's a major difference here. This is the Proline front shock tower. First thing that you will notice compared to the stock shock tower is that this is completely connected versus this. That eliminates this flex. Versus this one, doesn't really flex. Yeah, there isn't, I mean, I'm kind of going left and right with it, but it flexing, see if I can keep it stable, not really. Versus this one, I mean, you can see the difference. So there's a huge difference between that. The other thing, again, you have more adjustability, so notice those 3 points where you can set your links, and this will make a difference in driving a vehicle. Now, your standard shock positions are these two here, but you also get these 2 other points where you can mount your shocks. So you have more adjustability there as well. And successfully, there we go. So that's one of the differences. So there's a huge difference between the front mounts as well. If you look at the rear, that's the construction. So we will move that over there. And again, if I try to hold, no, not really. Let's see. Yeah, this doesn't really flex much in comparison. Now, the rear tower also has its differences. So here we have this rear tower. One of the things that you will notice is it will not have this component here. The reason why is the rear tower from the Slash and the Bandit, for example, they're the same. This is where the body would clip on for a Bandit. This is meant for a Slash, so you're not going to have it. You don't need it. But one of the differences that you will see here is, again, for your links, you're going to have more adjustability. You have 2 additional holes, these top 2, where you can set your links. And so if you have your links here, you can now place them down here or there, just like stock, but now you have these other points up here where you can also set them. That's one of the differences. The other thing too is for the rear shocks, you have these two other points where you can set the shocks. Now, keep in mind that these do not match, these and these, and the reason why they do not match, just like the front ones don't match, is because the arms are about 1 centimeter longer for the Proline kit, these here, than the stock ones. So, because it's just moving your shock outward the same distance up top and on bottom. So now you have 2 holes where you can mount versus the 1 here on the factory rear. Now going back to this one, these would be your mounting holes, but you can also put a little spacer here and turn this into another mounting point if you want. But these are the ones, right, everything moves out, that you would be using. Now, the links, all right, they are longer for the Proline. Now here, the only way you can tell is if you look at the threads. I know the end links are still on, but if I line up just the end of the threads here, you will notice that these threads end right over here. So you've got that difference there, which is about 1 centimeter. I want to say it's 1 centimeter. Here, let me, I'm using my ruler off camera. Yeah, it's about 1 centimeter. So it's about 1 centimeter difference, and all of your links are longer, every single one. So you're going to be replacing all the links, but you use the same end links. Yeah, they're all 1 centimeter. About 1 centimeter, it looks like. So all 6 of these turnbuckles will have to be replaced. You're just going to remove these end links, and you're going to be using them on here. So when you do replace these, just look at the orientation for the little mark here. You want to make sure all the marks are on the same side. Alright, so that is it. Now these are just screws. I'm going to ignore it. This is the tool. I'm going to ignore it. I don't need it. Don't want it. I'm going to use my MIP. More material. More surface area. Now we go to the arms. So the arms, the arms are the biggest difference. So here we have the stock arms. Here we have the Proline arms. If we begin with the rear arms, they are significantly longer. I mean, this is where that difference in length is. And the reason why they're longer is so that you can use the same offset all around, but the offset is completely different on the wheels, as I will cover in a bit. But these are the arms. If you look at the material here, just on the top, this little bridge, actually it would be the bottom of the arm, that bridge, there's far more material on the Proline arm. On the rear arms, you generally break this little bridge here, or you break the hinge location. To be honest, it's usually when the screw backs out, you end up breaking them. This one, much more material. The cross member, also far more material, that there. If we look at the material for the hinging point on the center, so the inner part of the arm, far more material on the Proline as well. And in the front, or the outer portion, also a lot more material. Let's see if I place this. You can't really tell on camera. But the height of the arm as well. So if you look at the material here, there's a lot more material closer to the center, which is where the shock mounts. And this will hopefully reduce the chances of this breaking right where the shock goes over hard impacts if you're bashing or take a hit or racing. So the rear arms, definitely a large difference. And flexibility, Proline arms seem to be more rigid, especially toward the outer part of the arm, and that's probably because of the extra material. This is also very similar to the winter plastic Traxxas uses. So if it's as high quality or similar quality to Traxxas winter plastic, it should last quite a bit. So if you're running, this is all for 2-wheel drive, but if you're running a 4-wheel drive vehicle, consider getting the winter arms for your slash. Now these are the front arms. So now we've compared the rear. We'll get those out of the way. And these are the fronts. Now the fronts, in the outer edge, there doesn't seem to be much difference in material. A little toward the back, but in the front, not much, just a little bit. In the rear, they seem to be very similar. Most of the difference is going to be here. So if you look at the Proline, it's a much higher arm. And again, it has more material here around the shock area. Now, as far as rigidity, both, actually this is probably a little more rigid. So rigidity, I'm going to give it to the Proline again, but not by much. The main advantage to these front arms is, again, you're going to be running the same offset all around. Now, if you're thinking, well, I can just get the RPM offset compensating arms in the front and call it good. Yeah, that is true. You can. But, let's see, this is a rear. Sorry, that was a front. Wait, is that front or rear? Front. Alright, and that's the rear. Notice the difference in the offset. So if you get this Proline kit, you'll be able to use the wheels from your Team Associated vehicles and Techno vehicles, and then just swap them out instead of having multiple offsets. And the offset is significantly different between the two. This is just because this already has tires mounted onto the wheels. It's not going to be exact, but all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my blade, go to the face here of the hub, and then let's see. There we go. Alright, so if I do that, so this is about 34 millimeters. If I do the same over here, I could have used a toothpick or something else, but it's not as fun as holding a knife. And this one would be approximately 27, probably 26 minus the rubber on the tire. So see, there's a huge difference between them. Yes, you could use this kit and use the rear tires and just make your vehicle wider. The problem with that is then your tires are going to rub on the body. And if you're running a two-wheel drive short course and it's high traction, when you turn, as soon as that body rubs on that front outer tire, it's going to work as a brake, and it's going to make you traction roll a lot easier. So that's why you don't want to make your vehicle wider. The other thing you could do, some of you are probably thinking, well, why don't you lift the body, run the body higher? Well, less aerodynamic, and when you take jumps, it's going to be a big, giant parachute. I mean, short course trucks are already, those bodies are already parachutes as they are. Raise the body even more, there will be more air. But that is it for the comparison between the Proline ProTrac suspension kit and the stock / components. Thank you so much for watching.